You know, I've generally been a pretty big fan about how the Montreal Canadiens approach young players and essentially getting out ahead of getting contracts done fast because it only kind of, I find at least, burns you in the end. Essentially, you always just have to end up paying more. So if you just ante up and you pay the guy and you sign him long term, more than not, it actually does work out for the team. But we're going to be talking about that and Laine Hutson, some interesting comments from insider Marco D'Amico in this video. But guys, welcome back to Pixel Plus Hockey. If you could please make sure to hit that subscribe button if you do enjoy the content, and thank you so much to those that are already supporting me as well. Now, we all have our differing philosophies in hockey. When it comes to signing players, we look at a couple of different things. We look at the player's age, we look at the player's, ceiling, we look at things like that and we say, I would give him this much of a contract, I would give him this many years. When it comes to young players and buying up RFA years, generally it just makes sense to just get those years. They come cheaper, of course. It's the UFA years that, players kind of fight for because those are where they will be unrestricted and be able to get the most money. Now, my opinion is going to be that I think that the Montreal Canadiens should do the same with Hutson. Now, that doesn't mean I'm going to be right. It's just the philosophy that I generally hold to. And that's why I find this rumor to be kind of concerning. But again, maybe it ends up working out for the Montreal Canadiens. I hope so anyway. But here we have a quote from D'Amico: "No rush for Habs and Hutson deal." So he was on Montreal 690 and had a really interesting hit where he has said essentially it's kind of radio silent there and there's just no real rush. He gave a pretty fair take, though, how there's two sides of looking at this. From one side, you could have, hey, maybe it'll work out for the Montreal Canadiens because he could have a sophomore slump and it actually could work out. Now, of course, we're not hoping for that. We're hoping that Laine Hutson has an unbelievable season. Maybe he can score like 75 points or something crazy. He'll be, on the power play with Demidov and just have a nuts season. Demidov winning the Calder or something, him scoring 75 points. Like, I could see that happening. Like, he is an offensive dynamo. His edge work is really, really good. His puck handling is quite good. It seems that the Montreal Canadiens are a smart enough franchise to put him in position to succeed. So you don't want to bury him in the D zone or something silly, or, let's make him, a player that he isn't. Let the player shine where he is. But that's where it could burn the Montreal Canadiens. Like, you might as well just ante up and pay him if you can right now. That's where I'm at right now. Now, again, hoping that I'm wrong about this, but I would probably do it the way that they've done it before with young players and just kind of get on it. But here we go. I will make this question of the video. How do you want the Montreal Canadiens to approach this? Do you want them to say, okay, we're going to get this done, call his agent and say, we're getting this done, we're figuring this out? Or would you say maybe Hutson might take a step back and it might actually work out for the Habs? D'Amico was talking about the fact that he may get around the same as Noah Dobson, 9.5 essentially. That's what Noah Dobson got. I'm not so sure about that because I look at Hutson as having a higher ceiling than Noah Dobson. I think Noah Dobson's quite good, but I think that Laine Hutson will outperform him definitely offensively in his career. So I think he might actually end up getting more than 9.5. But again, I want to be clear. If he does get 9.5, yeah, I would absolutely take that. Now, shifting gears here, I wanted to talk about a really interesting article in The Athletic that touched on Logan Cooley, Laine Hutson, and Scott Wheeler's do-over of the 2022 NHL Draft, which, let's be clear, the Montreal Canadiens got Hutson in the second round, which, by the way, that's an unbelievable draft pick. I don't know if they thought that he was going to be that good. Maybe they thought that, hey, we were going to get him in the second round, so it's going to be a steal. But whatever. That was just an unbelievable second round pick. God, it is so interesting how in the second round, especially, the second round is a specific round where you find that, like, yeah, most players miss in the second round, but God, you can just find some gems in there. You know, I always go back to the, you know, Patrice Bergeron was drafted in the second round, Ryan O'Reilly, Matthew Knies is a hell of a player, 50 some odd overall, Lane Hutson, who is, I mean, a top pair offensive D. But God, I do love the second round because you can always find those guys that trickle down from the first round. Anyways, I don't want to get too much off of topic here, but he actually had Logan Cooley ahead of Lane Hutson in the 2022 NHL draft. Now, I know a lot of people that are listening to this can be like, excuse me, because you can make the argument that Hutson should go ahead of Cooley, and I actually concede the point. But I think that a lot of people are misunderstanding Scott Wheeler and what he's trying to say in this article, but it's paywalled. Essentially what he's saying is that Logan Cooley is a centerman, and no matter which way you put it, centermen are always going to hold more value, especially in today's NHL. And Lane Hutson is a left shot D, and obviously offensive top pair left shot D are always going to be valuable, but it's just something about centers that are always going to give them a leg up on a defenseman. So I was just kind of scrolling through Habs Reddit, and I found myself just being like, I think that people are misunderstanding this just in general. And also, I saw some online discourse about Tony Marinaro's article around Patrik Laine, and he was essentially arguing, and rightfully so in my opinion, that Patrik Laine, a 40-goal season isn't impossible if he is healthy and performing. Now, I know a lot of Habs fans have issues with Patrik Laine, like he's kind of like an empty calorie player sometimes, which is true, by the way. It's not like he's in the guts of the game all the time, but at the end of the day, people were burning him for this, and I actually agree with them that people act sometimes like Patrik Laine is useless. I just don't really understand that take. Like, if you can bury, his goal per game is actually pretty good. Like, he buries goals. He's a bit of a lackadaisical player in my opinion. But this article is right, but Tony Marinaro is making a completely fair point that if he is healthy and he is getting power play time and he is with offensive players, he could bury 40 goals this year, which gives him value no matter what you want to say about it. But anyways, I am going to leave this video here. If you can make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, I would greatly appreciate it, guys. And make sure to have a great day. Goodbye, guys.